what has happened on the tour. We all know the president is on a constitutionally mandated tour to discuss some of the highlights of his speech, but also discuss the schedule. There has been a schedule change. Mohamed Sabali, honorable from the presidency, the advisor of the president, will give an update on the change of schedule of the tour. Then later we'll open the floor for question and answers. Now the first update from the tour, we all know that the president has been directly engaging with residents. We started obviously in the North Bank in Barra. He looked at a model police station which is under construction, almost done, in SL. Then the famous Hakalang Road, which is about 87 kilometers long with 75 culverts. 82% completed. It's a game changer in the North Bank region. Connecting communities, connecting villages, promoting agriculture, promoting trade, and promoting tourism in that part of the country. And then finally, the president had a big rally, a rousing welcome, thousands of supporters in Joka. That is when the first day ended. The second day we proceeded. The president also visited the border post, visited some roads in around Badibu, particularly the Badibu Salikenye road as well. And the president had a meeting in Gain Sanjal. And that day ended. The third day also, the president made some visits as well. He visited the Tibet Center in Wasu. The president visited also the agricultural farm in CRR. I think the Minister of Agriculture will come to that. The rice farm, which intends to, which is a massive investment, just to ensure rice self-sufficiency. Because this government, under the leadership of His Excellency, the president takes rice production very seriously. I think you also the pictures. So the meeting ended in Pachonki. We all know Pachonki is in Sami district. We saw the rousing welcome of Gambians, of people from that part of the country who come and welcome the president for that speech. So the president visited Kir Ardo to listen to the community concerns and assess government efforts and share plans for further development. And he reiterated his leadership's focus on addressing the needs of the people, to support farmers, particularly farmers, which is important, we must emphasize. And now he also announced an additional allocation of 1 billion for groundnut farming, bringing the total to 2 billion. That is for 2024. I think the minister will delve on that. Remember, for this farming season, the government invested $1.5 billion as subsidies for fertilizer. So if farmers were supposed to buy a bag of fertilizer at 2,600, they bought it for 1,100. That's almost over 50% subsidy for farmers. Not only that, the government also spent hundreds of millions of dollars to make sure that farmers have access to seedlings as well. But also, government also plowed farms for farmers so they can farm. Not only that, government also allocated $1.5 billion to buy farmers groundnuts at the rate of $38 per kilo or $38 per ton. The minister will delve on that more. The president also revealed plans to distribute 180 tractors to farmers within before the next farming season, with a cost-sharing initiative. That is, the farmers will get the tractor, or the community will get the tractor, or the farmer. Government pays 25% for you as a subsidy, and you pay 75% over 5 years, just to ensure farmers have access to equipment also to farm. Also, the president also revealed government's plan for civil service pay rise effective January. It's average 30%. What that means is that not everybody will get 30% across the board. Those at the lower end will get more, and those at the high end will get less. But also, just to emphasize, ministers are not part of this pay rise. It's only for civil servants who are particularly from grade 1 to grade 12. The president also engaged in more community engagements. He also promised to improve schools, to improve roads, but also to provide fertilizers for farmers. The giraffe project we saw, the minister will elaborate more on that. Provided seed and matching grants for hundreds of Gambians. We also, when the checks were being distributed, I want the minister also to talk about that later as well. The matching grants, you remember, if you go, I think the first place was in Jokadu. They got 21 million amount for 53 people. 51 people, totaling almost 100,000. Those who are into cashing out into poultry and so on and so forth. So the tour continues. Today we are in URR and tomorrow. Next week will be CRR South. Then we'll do Jara, we'll do Kiang. Then we'll go back to the Commerce, and then we will do Combo, then we'll do West Coast, KM and Banjul. Those are the updates from me. I'm happy to let Honorable Mamadou Sabali from the presidency to give updates from the presidency. Then we can be able to open the floor for questions and answers. And I think the minister will also help us give us more information, more detail on the issue of the farming season, the concerns of farmers, the price of groundnuts, and all those issues that come along with the agricultural sector. Thank you.
Okay, can we switch?
Yes.
No. Yeah. Close it.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, and my good brother, Dr. Sabali. I feel very fortunate here to be between two brothers. I don't know which of the surnames eats more, but we have the agriculture minister and his surname is Sabali. But I don't think we can win against Dr. Sise here. But I want to thank Dr. Sise for bringing this up. I know he has been busy on a daily basis, answering questions, making it available for to give answers to people who've been asking questions, but to bring the press together here for this one-of-a-kind tour. President Barrow has been doing tours, but this one, I think, it beyond the highest mark he's ever hit. And it's simple and straightforward. I am a politician, but I'm not here for politics. The president is not a politician, he's a politician, but he's not on tour for politics. He is on tour as the president of the Republic of the Gambia, meeting Gambians regardless of their political, tribal, or regional orientation. And we want to thank Gambians from the presidency for their overwhelming turnout to welcome the president, to receive him, and to talk to him. Because the president encourages us to talk to him. Rather than talking about each other, we can talk to each other. So we want to thank all Gambians, because it's all Gambians that came to welcome the president and his delegation and ask questions, and the relevant ministers have been answering those questions. Dr. Sabali has never said that fertilizer was given to NTV supporters in Balibu, or tractors are given to NRP supporters. It's always to Gambian farmers. So we want to thank the Gambians for that understanding. The update, like Dr. Sise said, there's been a slight update. A press release has been issued by the government spokesman. It's mainly regarding the rest days that are put into the official schedule. So now on Thursday, 28 November, still remains a rest day as scheduled, while Friday will be a work day. Saturday, the 30th of November will be a work day, and Sunday, the 1st of December will now be a rest day. The tour resumes after those rest days on 2nd of December as we get in closer to the combos. That's the
and every farmer organization, their apex bodies with us. We are pretty much sure they will be speaking in one of our rallies either today or tomorrow. We will elicit from them what are the reactions from the farmers of the groundnut price that has just been announced by His Excellency. But nonetheless, we will have the floor open for any questions. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we open the floor for questions. If you have any questions, you can ask your questions in the local languages as well. We would prefer that. And then if you ask in the particular language, we will respond in that particular language. The floor is now open. Any questions?
Thank you. My question goes to Dr. Sabali, the Minister for Agriculture. I want to know.
Your name and then the media.
Sorry, I am Modian Badi from Stanley. I want to know, apart from the NARI and the Roots project, what are the ministry's own established projects?
Thank you very much. Actually, ministries cannot establish projects. Ministries are supposed to have departments. And our departments are the Department of Agriculture, the Department of Livestock Services, then we have WALI, we have NARI, we have National Seed Secretariat. These are the departments under the Ministry of Agriculture. Everything else, we call them projects because they are a mixture of funding between the government of the Gambia and our donor partners. They say the World Bank, Islamic Development Bank, African Development Bank, and we consider those things as projects because they have a start time, they have an end time, they have a stated budget. But for departments, they are for prosperity. They are under the government. And those are the departments I name for you. So under the ministry, we don't have projects. Projects are, like I mentioned, directly supervised by the CPCU. For us, we have departments. Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Dauda Balde from the Party Network. I still have a question for the Minister of Agriculture. We've seen a lot of projects have come under the Agricultural Ministry over the years. And when the project duration elapses, and that's why it ends. So with the giraffe projects and roots and other projects that are also on the way and people are being supported, what are the mechanisms that you put in place to ensure that even after this project ends, there will be sustainability to ensure that it is an ongoing achievement?
Well, I think the good news to announce here is 3 days ago, the government of the Gambia, with stewardship of His Excellency, our newest project, that is the reward project, it is a $39.6 million project, just got approved 3 days ago by the African Development Bank. Look, sustainability for a project, every project in its built-in itself has a sustainability plan. That is, for example, let's say the Roots project is working on cold storage facilities. What they do is they hand it over to cooperative societies. These societies have membership, and the membership have registration, and they pay a minimal amount that they have to, in a bank account. So what they do is they use those funds for maintenance, and all these cold storage facilities also, for example, they are operated using solar energy, so that it is low-cost maintenance. So the goal is the cooperative societies own these things from day one. They're not owned by the ministry, they're not owned by the project. All these things we mentioned, they're owned by the people. So they start to see the benefits from day one. And so when the project phase out, they understand the benefits, and they'll be responsible of the maintenance from day one. So whether the project is there or not, they've already been used to the cost of maintenance, and they will sustain it. And then for the input support, let's say for rice, what we do in a community, from first year, the project pays 80%, the community pays 20%. The second year, the project pays 60%, the community pays 40%. And the third year, the project pays less, 40%, and the community pays 60%. So it phases out. Before it is 5 years, it becomes like 100%. So they get used to it, and they've identified the potential and the benefits, so they will not let it slide. So we are fully aware of that perspective, historic perspective of projects under the ministry, coming, doing what they do, and once they're gone, everything fails. And that's why now it is a different ballgame.
My name is Maria Majalo from Nyato, Gambia. As we've all heard from the farmers that are affected to these groundnut issues, what are your plans? And then, is it are they the one whom you give seeds before? Have you checked that whether it's the one that you have given seeds, or them are the one who provide their own seeds? And then, what are your plans for them before we go back?
Thank you very much. I've had this question before. This issue of groundnut yield being low is widespread nationwide, and actually the information we are getting, it has the same impact in parts of Senegal and even parts of Mali. So that has ruled out the possibility of the seeds that were supplied by the ministry. Nonetheless, I want to emphasize that the seeds that we even gave to the farmers are seeds we bought from farmers in the Gambia. We did not import seeds from any other country to come and give to the seeds farmers in the Gambia. Seeds were locally bought from a farmer in Nyamina and supplied to Nyamina people. Bought from a farmer in North Bank and given to North Bank people. So, what we have identified, like I discussed yesterday on GRTS, few things on the table. Early planters, late planters. Early planters, it looks like majority of them have done well. Late planters, looks like majority of them have challenged. Again, the issue of climate change, because we've had a lot of rain come at a very short period. It may be very unusual. And also the potential for a new disease in the crop that my scientists at NARI and NSS are trying to investigate. So these and a couple of other things are being looked at to establish scientifically what is the cause of the low yield. But climate change is the biggest suspect in our case, and we will take a look at it.
A follow-up to what Mr. Sabali said, that the Meet the People tour is not a political tour, but we have seen it has been described by some as being more of a political tour. I want to know if the opposition, or better still, other political parties have been engaged to take part in this important national discourse? If yes, how were they engaged? And then, okay, answer that.
Let me just answer the last question, whether other political parties are engaged. The tour is called Meet the People's Tour and not Meet the Political Parties Tour. The president is out to meet the people, and that means everyone. It's not like you said. If we start engaging political parties, then we are politicizing it. So that is counterproductive. It's to meet the people, no matter your political color, no matter your religion, no matter your tribe, no matter where you are. Everybody. That is why if you go to these meetings, you cannot tell me that it's only Gambians who are in these meetings. That is what is important. It is a constitution that the president must come out once every year, if I'm right, to meet Gambians. Let Gambians take stock, because he was there last day. He promised them. Has he fulfilled those promises? He has to be accountable to the people. The people have to also express their aspirations and their challenges to the president. That is what is important. Now, some people who are saying, how can you divorce politics from governance? If you understand governance and politics, you will never talk about divorcing these two. They go together. It's politics that brings about governance. The reason why we have people who govern is through politics. This talk has not been politicized, partisanship, in any way. I can guarantee you that what is important is presidents have to meet the people, and it's meeting the people, and it don't have been successful. Obviously, people have their own opinions. We have to listen to those opinions, but it will not derail and distract from what the president is doing.
If I may add up to what Dr. Rightly said, I'm part of the organizing committee for the talk. And in the preparations, and this is because I've served in a different administration than I'm in this. We made sure people are selected who will speak in front of the president from diverse communities, regardless of political affiliation. But even within us, people emphasize that we make sure that speakers don't just come and praise the president, that they are bold enough to speak about their problems. And Doctor, we've seen that. And where they've raised those challenges, the president and his ministers stood up to address them. If it is politics, we know how to do politics. This is Banku Dogo, let's do that.
My second question is, since we started the program, we have had the president, of course, his delegation, been talking about a lot of development plans, programs for the communities, that include, like you said, road infrastructure, agriculture, education. One thing I have not had the president talk about is the government programs and policies for sports development in rural Gambia. We are talking here of a potential industry that can employ a lot of youth and transform lives. Yes, and I don't know why that has not been featured in the president's discussions.
Well, actually, it came up, not specifically sports. But if you have my notes here, what I was supposed to do at the end is that if you look at point 3, youth development, the president highlighted the establishment of several technical and vocational education and training centers in rural Gambia, nationwide. He also encouraged youth to engage in skills acquisition, and skills also means sports, with a promise of increased government support and also committed to rural government. So obviously, the president cannot say everything in a 30 minutes, 40 minutes speech. Remember, government has many responsibilities. First and foremost is to ensure stability and security in a country, because without that nothing can happen. And this government has ensured that. This next thing is to ensure that there is no scarcity of food and essential commodities. This country, you cannot name me any commodity in any sector, whether healthcare or food or whatever, that there's a scarcity. It doesn't exist. So the government, through its policies, has provided enough for Gambians, both in the market but through government subsidies. Then 3, basic services, electricity. Look at the meter improvement. What this government has done in 7 years in meter extension, 52 years, the two governments could not do it together. Rural electrification. Then 3, water. You know how many villages we provide with water in this short span of time? Then 3, education. You cannot tell me that there's a village in this country where the people have access to education, basic quality education within a short distance. Then healthcare. Name me a place in the Gambia where you say, I cannot go to the hospital, or I've been to the hospital, or there is no doctor. There is always, so these are the basics. Stability and security. Access to food and basic commodity, essential commodities. Electricity, water, then connectivity finally. Both virtual, we put connection, people can connect. We build roads. These are important things. For youth development also, is keep in the president's agenda. That is why we are building skill centers across the country. With the president's vision that the youth are the future, and we must nurture and develop their skills, and that includes also sports as well.
Just to add again on what Dr. said, the tour is a continuum. It's not like the tour starts today. There was a tour last year. So in building up the timetable and the schedule for this year, we factored in what happened last year. If you go back to the archive, you see the previous tour, the president visited a lot of rural sports infrastructure.
Yes. In fact, this time is there.
Yes, so if you come later, even Dr. Caesar himself is working on one that we are keeping, that will blow your mind. So keep following.
Yes, Joy?
Thank you very much. This is Mohamed Lamin Choi of the Gambia Radio and Television Services. I wanted to understand, we visited Jarrai's farm where the president, highlighted his government's ambition to achieve rice self-sufficiency in the Gambia by 2030, and he even say it can be even before that. How does the government, and he stressed his government's full support, 100% plus support for the farmers, for the private sector, in order to attain that. What form of support does the government give the private sector as part of incentive and creating the enabling environment so that that target is attained?
Thank you very much, Mr. Choi. I will talk general, then if you need it, we would go specific to the farm that His Excellency visited. But as far as government specific support for private sector players in rice production, when is the provision of land. There's a program under the Ministry of Agriculture and Ministry of Trade. We call it land banking with GAIPA. Currently, we bank up to 7,000 hectares. And what we did is, these lands are acquired from the communities. They are leased under GAIPA. And when an investor comes, we at the Ministry of Agriculture, we assess the viability of his project, his proposal. Our technicians look at it. And if we deem this thing to be very viable, then we will include GAIPA in the project and they will be issued land. Once they are issued land, the Ministry of Agriculture specifically for private sector players like Maru Farm and JA, one, we have attached our expert, that is agri-extension staff, dedicated specifically to that farm. In fact, they don't deal with any other farmer except that farm. We did that for Maru Farm, we've just done that for JA. In terms of technical capacity, we attached an engineer from our Department of Engineering. We've done that for the farm in Bayaba to help train their people on their tractor operation, on their maintenance, their combine harvester, and we did that for Maru Farms and other private players in Sapo. And apart from that, when we provide seeds for our smallholder farmers, in a bid to encourage these bigger farmers, we also provide them with seeds. The farm you visited in Bayaba is a beneficiary of our seed support, and of course it's the same with Maru Farm. And also with the matching grant, the farm in Bayaba is a new farm. When it started, the window was already closed. But farmers like those in Sapo area and the rest, they benefited from matching grant in the excess of 20-something million at no cost. So this and many other things that the government is doing to encourage private players. And apart from that, even with equipment, we supply them with not only technicians and technical individuals, but also with our equipment. Currently, when we visited the farm in Bayaba, we realized that he has a harvester, but it's small. We have a bigger harvester that is located at Sapo under the National Seed Secretariat. We have arranged immediately that if we needed it, we would ship it to his farm to support his harvesting. But the most critical equipment he just requested a day or two ago is when we saw the women, they were trying to sieve the rice. We have a machine that does that, and the machine is in Sapo. And I've instructed last night that let them move the machine, since it is not being used currently on the Seed Secretariat, to be moved to Bayaba to support the private operators. So the Ministry of Agriculture support these private players in terms of personnel, in terms of finance, in terms of machinery. Thank you.
Yes.
My name is Lamin Pujari, working for Gambia Daily, the only government newspaper. My question is, the past meetings, people complain, speaker after speaker complain that there is no medicine at the hospital. What is the stand of the government to ensure there is availability of medicine at the hospital?
Well, thank you very much. I think we need to understand one thing as a country. The country is a population of 2.5 million people. And not everybody suffers from the same ailment. His ailment is different from mine, is different from his, is different from hers. You cannot expect any country in the world to be able to know and anticipate the ailments of each citizen in the country and stock medicine for all ailments. It's not possible. No country can do it. Even the most developed countries cannot do it. What we provide is the most basic that we can provide. Now, if your ailment needs a more complex medication, and that is provided for in the market, which the government, through its policies, ensures there is no shortage of medicine in this country. You have to get it from there. So we cannot, no government, and we have to be honest with each other. You pay $25. You want to see a doctor in that $25. You want to use all the equipment, scanning equipment. Yet you want every medicine you need to be given to you. No country can do it. What we provide is the basic medicines, and that is important. And the government, through His Excellency's leadership, has invested so much in healthcare that it is unprecedented. We've built healthcare centers where they've never thought of having healthcare centers before. In Jao, in Sierra, it's a district hospital, 54 beds, almost completed. In Kiang, Jali, a new health center was built there. In Mankamang, in Tumanda, in Sisemajao, in Sarikanye. And they've laid foundation stones for more, just to make sure we bring healthcare to the doorstep of rural communities, and this is the government's vision.
Man dama bëgg ñëw si local language maa ngi tudd Mariama dellu si waat rek clearance may jël bi pour PJ Mediamatic Your Excellency Honorable ñu ngi demoon round te gis na ne li ëpp yëpp mbéykat yi ngay joytu affaire gerte bi nga xam ne yaakaar biñ si amoon amul léegi balaa ndimbal bi ñëw yan pexe wala gestu ngeen am pour dem dalal seen xel su ko defee ñu mun a xam ne lu métti métti am na loo xam ne dinañ ko mun a yaakaar pour mun a dimbale seen bopp ak pour ëllëg loolu lañ bëggoon a xam ak askan parce que am na ñoo xam ne duñ dee mun a ñëw si toog bi pour dégg wala amuñ accès pour dégg jërëjëf.
jërëjëf comme ni nga ko waxee dem nañ raam gis nañ ne gerte yi ren amuñ doom comme nuñ ko daan amee loolu tax na ba His Excellency the President am na ci naxari torop te ñun ak Ministry of Agriculture yéeg nañ waaye comme ni ma ko waxee woon in English o si fan yële déema o barki déema mooy ne force ñun ñu ngi seet ñu establish li waral lii because loolu moo gën a important even si béykat yi sax because suñ establishul loolu it's possible mu repeat boppam at buy ñëw ak beneen bu si topp so at ministry level ñun ñu establish li ko waral mooy most important li si tegu mooy ñun dinañ taxaw make sure ñu support leen because su dee seen gerte yi tey this year baaxul duñ mun a am jiw next year so foog ñu taxaw seet examine jiw bi si boppam bi ñu am Gambia ndax am na gene depreciation ne léegi jiw bi baaxaatu et non loolu it can happen to anything just like even human beings scientifically when you are elderly when you reproduce there's a risk of a bad defect so loolu is natural in any crop or natural stuff so li ñu leen mën a waa rek mooy ne dinañ establish li ko cause dinañ leen support si wàllum jiw and suñ delluwee Banjul dinañ toog and look at it holistically as a government. This is not a Ministry of Agriculture issue now because financially they might affect the household level, they might affect the community, they might affect the country because gerte def dey indi a lot of foreign exchange. Te ñoom béykat yi suñ jaayee gerte si lañ dee use pour ñu jënda even bagage liñ dee dundee. So lii dina affect household level. So the Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Finance, Disaster Management, even the Ministry of Gender, ñun yëpp dinañ talk around the table and now put up a national strategy naka la ñoo dimbalee béykat yi because lii léegi it's not a Ministry of Agriculture alone issue waaye yéeg nañ seen métit te ñun tamit lii affect nañu te affect na réew mi yëpp so it's a national problem du problème yi béykat rek. Thank you.
Okay, there are no more questions. I would like to give the final updates in the local languages and then we can close this press conference. Mbokk yi di leen nuyu di leen santa di leen gërëm bu baax a baax yéen mi nga xam ne yeneen taskat xibaar yi fi teewee fi tey di wane nag am nañ xibaar boo jógee si nguur mi nga xam ne moo méngoo ak taux bi président nekk di def taux bi nga xam ne luwaay Gambie bi moo ko digle président bi mu wóor dëkk bi pour mu waxtaan ak askan bi mu xam seen jafe-jafe moom tam mu wax leen lan mooy yéeneem ba pare tamit ñu mun koo laaj lu mu leen diggoon at ya passé ndax def na ko bu si fés mooy président wax na ne si ndimbal ak jokkalante ak World Bank dinañ tabax yoon 150 kilometers of roads in CRR yoon yi nga xam ne foofu la ñoo tamit nañ fa defar yoon mooy ñaani ak Same district nañ fa sampa yoon yu bees ba pare tamit dinañ build new hospital in Njaaw CRR waaye dinañ rehabilitate Kuntawur Health Center su ñëwee si mbaalum béy nag ñu ne nguur wax na ne bég nañ si liggéey béykat yi ba pare ñu ngi gëstu béykat yi te ñu ngi kontaan si liggéeykat yi nga si liggéey bi nga wala béykat yi nekkat yi def wane nguur wane na nag pour jàppale béykat yi at bi duñ yokka si price yi gerte duñ si yokka waaye tamit duñ si wàññi waaye dinañ ko def foo xam ne mooy gën a baax si price booy mën a am si sous-région muy Sénégal ak feneen mooy $38 per tonne te foog nit ñi xam ne $38,000 per tonne mooy $38 per kilo $38,000 per tonne waaye balaa bee bi di am sax nguur dépasse na 1.5 billion pour gis ne béykat yi am nañ engrais dépasse na xaalis bari pour gis ne am nañ jiw waaye ñu xam ne tamit su ko nguur jëndee $38 per kilo nguur mu ngi koo jaay $28 per kilo nguur mu ngi ñàkka $18 per kilo boobu la di jël mu dépasse ko si mbiri mbéy bi pour nit ñi xamee ko noonu waaye tamit nguur mu ngi liggéey ak private secteur bi pour gis ne lekka du ñàkka si dëkk bi te fii nañ mën a ji suñu wàllu foofu su ñëwee si wàllu ndaw yi nag nguur mu ne si Adama His Excellency mu ne ñu ngi sampa ay education centers ay école ñuy jàngal xale yi métier parce que métier mooy lépp fooy mun di dem soo amutee métier du fa mën a succeed kon ñu ngi build skill training centers yi across the country pour ñu gis ne ndaw yi mën a jàngal seen métier waaye tamit nguur wax nañ tamit ñu ngi focus on rural development parce que te am nañ ne problème bu am mooy rural urban migration moo tax soo gisee loo xam ne moo fees si liggéey nguur si dex bi mooy ne courant am ndox am hôpital yi am école am yoon am suba ñi fi dëkka du ñàkk nag li nga xam ne moom la ñi nekk Kombo di am mbaɗi ngol mbaɗentolo mba jeela mbaɗi mbarala bake fan mbaɗi journaliste o milɓiɗa mbi mbaɗentolo mba jeela ka fale ko ñin kibaru wota Mansakunda mi alon ko ga moye toññide kono abota président o da kono ko Mansakunda ni wol bamɓe ɗoggala kaje ko kilométre keme anin tallolu ya lafa bawo mbe tembo min to tente Mansakunda min lo folo ñin wati ndingo tema ay kilométre woni keling sire fa tambita e ko sa kilométre keme anin taluli balla fala je bar ñimbe be kala siara le surtout ñaani anin Sami district e ko Mansakunda fanan ko e be lopitan ko do lokan siara le Kuntawur health center e bari pera le ba lopitan ko do fane ba lokan jaaw e ka fa district hospital president fara jele kata je jibe do ko ñimbe tembe jumala nada seno bundala e ko Mansakunda e senela tendu ay dey bake fam bawo ngalon ko tollo bankola babondi e ko fanan kaje ko Mansakunda ning sango seno mi alon volontier la price oti ite fan talalaji bari fanan ita kafula bari fanan neaji ba dele fanan be betti ala price isa soto so prijono kaje ko lon $38,000 per ton bari ngansam sa lon fanan ko janni seno be kala Mansakunda general de mal munna wolon kaje ko trop soto million de malle de pasta woto wolon kaje ko fertilizer soto o fanam billion de malle de pasta woto ani ko ke man ko Mansakunda e de mal andu nga fo sa fale fanan ko nin $38,000 per ton Mansakunda kata wati $20,000 len abi ko Mansakunda ka fo $18,000 la per ton ko bi Mansakunda le ka dépasse tout kaje ko sénégal il afta men isa soto seno sa fale fanan ko président ya fanan fole ko aning private sector do ko kala kaje ko mingo mi yalon ko sene ko lon gambe jang si private sector de ma isaje ko mi yalon ko ka sura sutu mano wonda bonna banda man ko dan ko ngol ba filan fayja fonding ke la bunda to dum Mansakunda ko karam ko jamal yele banko beto ko kaje ko fonding ko le métier karam ba métier la bi ga fa activate center ko dum ñe mutaj fian ko lombang ko seno lombang ko ngofe mi yalon ko Mansakunda banko de ngol sulata le fone ke kanam me je ko asakara mo tawnya iko fana rural development mo kulti fana mi ko Mansakunda be sawar la je bake pour kaje ko fo jiyo lomba fo leptano lomba fo karambo lomba fo kurango lomba fo ngo fem mi ko banko de ngol sulata la imanya nakara kombo pour ka soto nyan katara hanni be boli bannale ko sabale ko boli bannalo sale la bangoti andum bi kata boli bannale computer lab yi wala leje ani kanam mun kuto pour president la rural ala agenda development e ka fole rural agenda lo wotu mon ndi wala men ga kombole wala rural urban migration siara mo be sawunta kombo wala na bi 60% of the population is sabatiri kombole wala mon di keme ina min bel ta woro bebe sabatiri kombole mari kombo dum mon da dano pour kanyi mo be dia wala joka kole ya kombo non korea di sido dedeta bunko ka fole ba on to be son ta ko male ko dum kala ka di congest president development finance dan rural gambia ka je ko ibe dawda gambia da hanni ben nan tam mo la ko isila AC malon ba ko mo bije isi ji se no ko no di ngol da kanam mo kendo do na sa dal salfan jarano ale sila kendo so ko ra kanin na mo kulti mialon ko Mansakunda ba kang ba te lamba jeyla ni press conference dum ba kala ko denke nin to kata mbal update la esaki nin karo mi alon ka balbul alsa fena Mansakunda donc fi alon ka Mansakunda fana wul sa faade alsa tan ko ko sa kala moto na honda bul metan to la medela honda bul sabali fudol le minen jamdi ala ka ba